أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والفجر وليال عشر والشفع والوتر والليل إذا يسر هل في ذلك قسم لذي حجر ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بعاد إرم ذات العماد التي لم يخلق مثلها في البلاد وثمود الذين جابوا الصخر بالواد وفرعون ذي الأوتاد الذين طغوا في البلاد فأكثروا فيها الفساد فصب عليهم ربك سوط عذاب إن ربك لبالمرصاد فأما الإنسان إذا ما ابتلاه ربه فأكرمه ونعمه فيقول ربي أكرمن وأما إذا ما ابتلاه فقدر عليه رزقه فيقول ربي أهانن كلا بل لا تكرمون اليتيم ولا تحاضون على طعام المسكين وتأكلون التراث أكلا لما وتحبون المال حبا جما كلا إذا دكت الأرض دكا دكا وجاء ربك والملك صفا صفا وجيء يومئذ بجهنم يومئذ يتذكر الإنسان وأنى له الذكرى يقول يا ليتني قدمت لحياتي فيومئذ لا يعذب عذابه أحد ولا يوثق وثاقه أحد يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعيه إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي صدق الله العلي العظيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم والعن وأهلك أعداءهم أجمعين. عن فاطمة الزهراء عليها السلام بنت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله أنها قالت دخل علي أبي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله في بعض الأيام فقال السلام عليك يا فاطمة فقلت عليك السلام قال إني أجد في بدني ضعفا. فقلت له أعيذك بالله يا أبتاه من الضعف. فقال يا فاطمة ائتيني بالكساء اليماني فغطيني به. فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فغطيته به، وصرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلألأ كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله. فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسن عليه السلام قد أقبل، وقال السلام عليك يا أماه. فقلت عليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال يا أماه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت نعم إن جدك تحت الكساء. فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء؟ فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوبي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معه تحت الكساء. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجه. فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسين قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أماه. فقلت وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال لي يا أماه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت نعم إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء. فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه، السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكما تحت الكساء؟ فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافع أمتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معهما تحت الكساء. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله. فقلت وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين. فقال يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت نعم ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء. فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله، وأتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال له وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وصيي وخليفتي وصاحب لوائي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل علي تحت الكساء. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بوعتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخلت تحت الكساء. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ بي رسول الله بطرفي الكساء وأومأ بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم إنا هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وحامتي، لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي، يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم، أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم. إنهم مني وأنا منهم، فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم، وأذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. فقال الله عز وجل: يا ملائكتي ويا سكان سماواتي، إني إما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرض مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. فقال الأمين جبرائيل: يا رب ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل: هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة، هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. فقال جبرائيل: يا رب أتأذن لي أن أهبط إلى الأرض لأكون معهم سادسا؟ فقال الله: نعم، قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال: السلام عليك يا رسول الله. العلي الأعلى يقرئك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك: وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم، وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم، فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله: وعليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله، فإنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. فقال لأبي: إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول: إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. فقال علي لأبي: يا رسول الله، أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله: والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا، ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي عليه السلام: إذن والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. فقال بي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله: يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا، ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا وفيه مهموم إلا وفرج الله همه ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غمه ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجته. فقال علي عليه السلام: إذن والله فزنا وسعدنا، وكذلك شيعتنا، فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة. اللهم صل على محمد.
بل محمد وآل محمد صلوات. सलाम के चंद अशार की नज़र कर रहा है ये रावी बयां कर बला, उसने आशूर की शब का मंजर लिखा, सीनाए शाह पा बिन्ते शाहे हुदा और शहबीर कहते थे ये बारहा, हमको जाना है कल करने वादा वफा, तुम पे आ जाएगा सब्र का मरहला, बात सारी सकीना ने शह की सुनी और जवां बन वो बस इतना कहती रही, अच्छा बाबा सुलाने तो आओगे ना, रोज चेहरा दिखाने तो आओगे ना, अच्छा बाबा सुलाने तो आओगे ना, रोज चेहरा दिखाने तो आओगे ना, बोले शबीर ऐ मेरी नूरे नजर, तुमको करना है अब शाम तक का सफर, तुमको कैदी बनाएंगे अब अहले शर, बोली शहजादी मुझको नहीं कोई डर, तुम कहो तुम सुलाने तो आओगे ना, रोज चेहरा दिखाने तो आओगे ना, शाह कहने लगे ऐ मेरी लाडली, तुम पे आएगी अब शाम गम की घड़ी, आग दामन में होगी तुम्हारे लगी, बोली वो फिक्र मुझको नहीं है कोई, मेरा दामन बुझाने तो आओगे ना, मेरा दामन बुझाने तो आओगे ना, रोज चेहरा दिखाने तो आओगे ना। मुज़तरब दिल से कहने लगे शाहिदी, तेरी किस्मत में बेटी सुकून अब नहीं, अब तमाचे लगाएगा शिमरे लई। सुन के यह बात कहने लगी वो हज़ीं, शिमर से तुम बचाने तो आओगे ना, शिमर से तुम बचाने तो आओगे ना, रोज चेहरा दिखाने तो आओगे ना। फिर किया शह ने बेटी से कुछ यूं सुखन, सब हरम होंगे अब तो हसीरे महल, तेरे हाथों में बिया बंधेगी रसल। बोली ये बात सुन के वो तशना दहन, तुम गले से लगाने तो आओगे ना, रोज चेहरा दिखाने तो आओगे ना। रोके शबीर ने उसके बोसे लिए, बोले रुखसार भी होंगे जख्मी तेरे, तेरे रोने के शहजादी दिन आ गए। बोली तुम कैसे देखोगे रोते हुए, हाँ मुझे चुप कराने तो आओगे ना, हाँ मुझे चुप कराने तो आओगे ना, रोज चेहरा दिखाने तो आओगे ना। बढ़ती जाती थी बेचैनी शबीर की, हर सितम वो उठाने पे राजी हुई। जिंदा बाबा न होंगे समझ ना सकी, सुन के सब मुश्किलें बस ये कहती रही। घर में रूठी मनाने तो आओगे ना, घर में रूठी मनाने तो आओगे ना, रोज चेहरा दिखाने तो आओगे ना। लेखे सलमान दिल फट रहा है मेरा, ज़ैन जब शाह वाला ने रोकर कहा, हाँ अब तो जिंदान मरकत बनेगा तेरा। बेटी साबिर की थी बोली वो साबिरा, मेरा लाशा उठाने तो आओगे ना, रोज चेहरा दिखाने तो आओगे ना। अच्छा बाबा सुलाने तो आओगे ना, रोज चेहरा दिखाने तो आओगे ना। पर मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सलवात।
I don't want water. You can take it, but I don't want water. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين سيدنا ونبينا وطبيب نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. والصلاة والسلام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين. ولعنة الله على أعدائهم وقاتلهم وغاصب حقوقهم من الآن إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله صل. The topic that I would like to talk about today, usually after the Amma Ba'd of the khutbah in Arabic, we say something that relates to the topic, so I've just changed it to make it English today. So in the wasiyah that our Imam, our third Imam, left for his brother, after Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim and introducing from this wasiyah is from who to who, he says, Anna al-Husayn, and to the end of the wasiyah. So we would like to start with this, just Anna al-Husayn, and then we will inshallah go through the whole wasiyah. Or not the whole wasiyah, but the part that we want to concentrate today. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So about 2 years ago, coincidentally, just on this night of the 20th of the Imam, the end of Muharram, we talked about this wasiyah. And we spent a few of the first verses of the wasiyah. We spoke about it and we went into a little bit of details. I'm going to summarize because I know probably people don't remember. Some people will be here that were not here. And of course, so we will go fast to the summary and then we will continue with kind of where we left off. If you can recite a salawat. So the natural logic deduction that we can make of why Imam left this wasiyah with his brother is that this wasiyah should contain the core intention of his leaving or whatever his action is going to be after this point in time. And so what is the benefit of us to go deep in this wasiyah? Usually there's only section of the wasiyah that people concentrate on. But as we know, the sunnah and the ways of the imam is that the imams, and like Quran, they do not really write something and waste words. So there must be something in this whole wasiyah that we need to dissect, rather than only dissect maybe a few verses and get the gist of it. We probably cannot get the gist of this wasiyah if we don't look at each and every term that the imam has written, because the imam does not waste words. They are very concise. All imams, when they write, they are very concise, they're to the point, and every section of what they write is important. And this is because there are many narrations that the times when we will be faced with our imam, inshallah, and we will join him, but the times of the test of that imam will be similar to the times one of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, others say of the times of Bani Israel, and others say of this small area of history whereby the imam is asked for allegiance and leaves until his martyrdom. This test of time may be repeated at the time of our imam, and therefore to understand that message, to understand why the people did not react, or should the people have reacted differently, not for only the 72 or the small group of ashab that helped the imam, but should have there be more, and why was that not the case? And to understand this will only help us in terms of understanding maybe what we have to concentrate on, and what are the pitfalls that we could get into. So this was the whole drive to understand this particular wasiyah. So this wasiyah comes to be after the imam goes to the court and says this famous statement that is also quoted, "Misli la yubayu misla." So I am not, a person like me cannot do bay'ah of a person like him. Here, the likeness is very important because Imam does not mention who, Imam mentions the similarity. But if we dig deeper to the station of the Imam that we know, leave out Yazid. Let's say any other person asked for the bay'ah of Imam. Would the Imam be able to say, yes, okay, I agree with this bay'ah? No, because there is nobody on the face of the earth, nobody, even if it was the most pious person, there's nobody on the face of the earth that the Imam would have been offered the bay'ah and say that, oh, I can accept this bay'ah. So this mithli la yuba'yu misla has a bigger sort of coverage. It also, you can flip sort of the question and say, if Yazid was to ask for the bay'ah, in the mind of Yazid, the daringness of doing such a thing is Yazidiyat as well. Therefore, anybody who would stand up, even today, imagining that they could ask for the bay'ah of the Imam, that action itself is Yazidiyat. So that is the kind of concept that we need to understand and sort of immerse ourselves inside to understand what is the station of the Imam. So when we went through this topic, we started with understanding the station of the Imam. And so we started with the understanding the station of the first Imam. We covered Nahjul Balagha, sermon number 129, where Imam Ali speaks of himself on his relation with the Prophet, and we went in depth on this particular topic. Salu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So coming back now to the wasiya, and why I say I stopped at this Anna al-Hussein. I just want to very briefly go through the top section of the wasiya, and it starts with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, and this is the only part that we will come to of this section of starting with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, and then Imam says, this is the wasiya bihi of Al-Husayn ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib. And here he introduces from his whole name, meaning his name, his father's name, and his grandfather's name, and that we said has its importance, and I will touch on that a little bit in the next few minutes. Ila akhihi Muhammad al-Ma'ruf yabna al-Hanafiya. So to whom it was going to whom it is meant to be in his hifazat is his brother Muhammad ibn Hanafiya. And here, after introducing himself, so he knows from whom this wasiya is, to whom. His first statement is, Ana al-Husayn. I am Hussein. This in itself tells you Imam is emphasizing who is going to say the next word, without sort of giving his introduction of how the next word is going to be heavy because of who it is going to be. So this Anal Hussein is just to give an idea of people should understand who this Hussein is. If that people at that time do not understand this, who is Anal Hussein, then everything else is basically falls apart. Because whatever then this Hussein does, if they know that whatever Hussein does we have to follow, fattabi'uni, as the Quran says, they have lost that. And that is why this is the point where Imam says Anal Hussein. And then the mazlumiyat part of it is the Imam goes in this particular wasiyah and starts with doing shahada. يشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد جاء بالحق من عند الحق. So he says that the Prophet of Islam, after the witnessing of him, he says he came with haqq from the source of haqq. Salu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Another salawat, please. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. So take this, after this statement that the Imam says of An al-Hussein, let's go to the situation in Medina at that time, where after this wasiyah has been made, the Imam is actually leaving Medina. So in the wasiyah, of course, most of you know the wasiyah, so I could jump areas and talk about it, and still you will get the gist of what we are trying to to say. So Imam, of course, the wasiyah is about the khuruj, he leaves. But the Imam is doing this khuruj uniquely. There is no other historical event of the khuruj of an Imam that is happening in this particular way. So Imam takes a lot of his family members. His conversation with Salama on what is going to happen, the story that you hear, so I'm not going to repeat those, of him giving, or the Prophet giving Salama the soil. And of course, the Imam telling Salama of what is going to happen. And it doesn't seem that the Imam communicates this kind of message to everyone, but the selective people know the Imam. But the notion that, or the situation that we have to understand is at this time, the Imam has not even got one letter from Iraq yet. Imam has just denied to do allegiance and decided to leave Medina. And he's doing this khuruj with all his family members. Not yet a letter has come from Iraq. So nobody in that area is saying that Imam is going to Iraq, or Imam is going to this destination that we all know ended up happening. However, and taking that, and taking Imam Ali when he moved to Kufa, or when he moved the capital from Medina to Kufa, he did not leave a wasiyah behind. When the Prophet left for Hijrat, he did not take his family together with him at that moment in time. He left alone and told Imam Ali, you come with my family. Even the 8th Imam leaving for Tus did not take his whole family with him and children and a big, although he was moving to take a position in Tus, unofficially, officially agreed upon or not agreed upon is a secondary situation, but he officially left on that invitation, but he did not take his family. This is a unique situation that the Imam is leaving Medina in a unique way, but people are kind of indifferent about it. They leave Imam, leaving in that situation without doing anything about it. This is the same question we come back is Anal Hussein. Did they understand who this Anal Hussein is? It seemed that understanding at that time with the people of Medina was lost. And why was it lost? Inshallah, we will cover that if I get an opportunity next time, because I have something to prepare for another majlis. But once I deliver that, because it will be unfair, I will come back to this particular state. What was the situation that made Medina so indifferent to Imam Hussein when he left Medina? Salu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Not only that, some of them knew who the Imam was. Because when he left now Medina to go to Mecca, he was not alone to leave. I think Abdullah ibn Umar also left and went to Mecca, if I'm not mistaken. Or it was Abdullah ibn Zubayr, one of the two. One of the two that was also asked to do bay'ah also left Mecca. But it does not occur to the Kufians in Kufa to start to write a letter to Abdullah ibn Umar or Abdullah ibn Zubayr. They knew the station of the Imam. They said Imam has left from Medina and has neglected or has decided to turn down the bay'ah of Yazid, and therefore we have to write to him to take the position. So they did not write to the other two. So they exactly knew the difference of who this person was, but their reaction to how to treat that person, as we see, comes differently. So why was that situation like that? That is what we have to understand. That is what we have to strengthen ourselves, that when the Imam comes, we should not have feelings of, yes, the Imam has this station, but maybe we can challenge him. Maybe our ideas can be superior to his ideas. Maybe what he's deciding is not correct, and therefore we can do something else other than what he is doing. Those are the pitfalls that we need to be very careful of, because the same history can repeat itself. Salu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So data is important here because all this ends up with Imam only having a few people with him. And as I said, the words of the wasiyah are very important. And I said when the introduction is being made by the Imam of what this is the wasiyah from Hussein ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib. Why the whole statement? If you look at and compare to a letter, this is also a wasiyah, is also a letter to us and to people that will read it. There is another letter Imam writes which is popular. One he writes to Habib ibn Mazahir. He doesn't mention that this letter is from Hussein ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib to Habib ibn Mazahir. He's saying this is a letter of Hussein ibn Ali to Habib ibn Mazahir. So why the difference? This is when I say the words, when the Imam writes the words, is very important. In the wasiyah, the notion of the people that are reading the wasiyah in Medina and their relation to understand Hussein ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib is different to the ma'rifat of Habib ibn Mazahir, who knows who Hussein is just by saying Ibn Ali. He had no doubt about anything about Abu Talib, which has doubt about people in Medina. That doubt was created by the rules passed that had already established in Medina. And when that got solidified, inshallah, next time. But this is how we have to divide the language of the Imam and understand the position of people, of what they understood, what they had in mind of not only Imam Hussein, but Imam Hussein's father and Imam Hussein's grandfather. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So Imam now continues with this part of the wasiyah that we mentioned. That so they says my grandfather has come with haqq and is the source of haqq. And then he concludes his sort of shahadat, which is what we get in, for example, talqeen, where he says وأن الجنة والنار الحق وأن الساعة آتية لا ريب فيها وأن الله يبعث من في القبور. This is all the introduction of the Imam's wasiyat before he starts to say why he is doing khuruj. And he ends this portion of the wasiyah here. So he mentioned all this, and why he mentioned, he had the need to mention the shahada of what his faith was and what he believes is quite mind-boggling. I have not come down to find out why that is. It is just something that we need to think about as to why Imam needed to do this in the wasiyah. And the sequence, even the sequence that is mentioned in Talqeen, is something of reflection, because if you look at the sequence of the statement, وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ يَبْعَثُ مَنْ فِي الْقُبُورِ will come first. First we will be raised. And then وَأَنَّ السَّاعَةَ آتِيَةً لَا رَيْبَ فِيهَا, the day of accounting comes next, once you raise. And then وَأَنَّ الْجَنَّةُ وَالنَّارَ حَقٌّ, Jannat and Nar come after. But here the sequence is opposite. The shahada sequence is وَأَنَّ الْجَنَّةَ وَالنَّارَ حَقٌّ وَأَنَّ السَّاعَةَ آتِيَةً لَا رَيْبَ فِيهَا, and then وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ يَبْعَثُ مَنْ فِي الْقُبُورِ. So why this situation has been reversed for us in our message, and even the reminder to the dead, is something of reflection, which I don't know the answer for, but I'm throwing something for a reflection so that we also take home sort of some homework. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So now we come to the section which a lot of people talk about in the wasiyah of Imam Hussein. And that is, وَإِنِّي لَمْ أَخْرُجْ أَشِيرًا وَلَا بَطِيرًا وَلَا مُفْسِدًا وَلَا ظَالِمًا. That I did not go out, or I'm not going out to cause harm, nor to be arrogant, nor to be corrupt, nor to be unjust. Imam here is not talking about the intention, because in the next section where he talks actually the word intention. Here there is no word of an intention. The word here is, I am going out not doing this, 4 things. So the structure of the wasiyah is very divine. And I say this because when we do shahada, our own shahada, we say, La ilaha illallah. We first negate everything, and then we accept God as one God. Here, the Imam is also negating what his mission is not going to be, what his mission is not going to contain. These 4 things will not be, will never be found, can never be found within this movement that Imam is moving. Not only movement, with anything that Imam will do. So he's saying, Wa inni lam akhruj, I am coming out, but whatever I do will not contain these 4 items. And therefore, it is divine. It will not contain these, it will contain something else. We will cover the something else, inshallah, if we get time today. So the divine language within the wasiyah is clear. The 4 components are not going to be there. And the Imam says that nobody in this particular mission, including myself, including whoever is in this situation of imamat that can be concluded, is going to have these 4 items. But usually when we claim something on an action, we can't claim on an action prior to the action. So if I go and do something, I can't say this particular item will contain no harm, no corruption, no arrogance, no injustice. After I do it, I know what has happened, I know I've been successful, I know the item is clear, then probably I can claim that these 4 items are not there. Imam is doing the opposite. He has not done, he's just leaving, he is just not doing the action that he has to complete. He's still leaving. He hasn't even said what his real intention are, but he says whatever I'm going to do, guaranteed, is not to contain this particular 4 items. And the only personality that can do this is an imam. Because an imam's mission, by that appointment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, cannot contain these 4 items. And so how do we convince ourselves that that is the case? Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. You know, at home I use a mouse, so it's very easy. And when I come here, I have to use my fingers, so it becomes a little bit difficult. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So there is a verse in the Quran and in Surah Al Imran, verse number 18, that says, شهد الله أنه لا إله إلا هو والملائكة وأولو العلم قائما بالقسط. So God here this is sometimes referred to as the verse of Shahadat. God is saying, only I am the witness of myself. So Allah is the witness that there is no God except Him. La ilaha illahu is by Shahid Allahu annahu. But He's not leaving Himself as the only personality that owns this Shahadat. He includes 2 other groups with this Shahadat. One, wal malaikatu, and the angels. And one, wa ulul ilm, and the people who have knowledge, qa'iman, immersed or founded, bil qist, in justice. This verse, of course, like any other verse of the Quran, has no limit of time. And so this wa ulul ilm has to be, it is definitely people who have knowledge or who have been granted knowledge, has to be a group of people that have the knowledge, not because they sort of learnt this knowledge or earned this knowledge, but they have this knowledge from the time the knowledge was created, because this is the time that they have to do the witnessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That witnessing has no time limit, because it is when Allah decided to create these people. And so when He created these people, the ilm was granted then, and the justice was granted then. So the people who own this justice, none other than the 14 ma'asumin, salamullahi alayhim, can command this knowledge that whatever they do is by justice. And therefore, this verse supports that Imam can say these words without having committed the action, that whatever action I commit, whatever work I do, whatever I happen to walk on, to say, or to do, has to have these four components. But all four components are basically come to one gist, which is justice. If justice is served, then of course there is no corruption, there is no harm, and there is no any kind of negative attribute given to that action. So this is when the Imam says within his wasiyah that I can come out without having these four items in this action, then we can say that this is only belongs to the family of the Prophet and the pure family after the Prophet, meaning the 14 ma'asumin. Sallu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. And therefore, Imam is also saying here that therefore whoever will come and stand against me will have one of these four components. Because if I am coming to stand against someone, that with the assurance that my actions will not contain these four elements, whoever then is standing against me, however they stand against me, will have at least one of these four components. And then the Imam goes and says the other part of the wasiyah, which will end today, inshallah. And then he says, وَإِنَّمَا خَرَجْتُ لِطَلَبِ الْإِصْلَاحِ في أمتي جدي صلى الله عليه وآله اللهم صل And therefore I am doing khuruj to do islah fi ummati, not islah on the deen, but islah on the ummah, meaning the ummah has swayed, and my desire, my pursuit is then to do the islah of this ummah of my jad. He doesn't say the ummah of Islam. He's saying specifically the ummah of jad. Because if Islam is to be misunderstood, then what definition there is there? No, this is, and that is why the next statement of how he is going to do this islah is very important. One point to ponder I want to just share, and maybe we will cover sometime very much in the future, not in the next majlis, but maybe as we go through this. In this whole wasiyah of Imam does not mention Quran. That I will do my islah following Quran. But he mentions what he's going to do islah in. I want you to go read this wasiyah and wonder why not Quran? Because of course the Prophet left two things, the Quran and the Ahl al-Bayt, not the Sunnah. There is no hadith that says Sunnah. There is a hadith that says Ahl al-Bayt, and there's a hadith that says Itra. So he left those two things. But here the Imam in his islah does not say that I will take the Quran and take the foundations of the Quran to do this islah. There's no word of that in that particular wasiyah. And there's this portion of the wasiyah, then there is another portion of the wasiyah that says what will happen if people don't follow what I'm going to say, meaning what the Imam is going to say. So inshallah we will cover that, but for now we will leave here and say that the This Islah is of the Ummah. So there is the Ummah that has gone swayed, which is now coming to our question of how swayed are they? And what are the attributes that Imam can use to say, this Ummah is swayed and I have to go. Yazid is one. But he doesn't say, I'm just going to take out the king, the bad leader. He's saying, Islah fi ummah. The whole ummah is in a state of or needing reformation. And therefore, what is this ummah that needs information? Were the people of Medina also needing reformation, or just the people of Kufa? And there are some points in the wasiyah that makes, and in the history that evolved after the three Khalifas and after what happened, and then the Muawiyah and the Sulu of Imam Hassan, that created this situation. And that is why we say that the architects, not only the architects of saying we want someone to be killed, but the architects of sending this deen aside was through people taking the position of the khulafa when they did not belong there, and causing this event to actually happen. Salu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Today is the 20th of the Imam, and it is attributed to this caravan of justice. So the Imam is saying, I'm coming out with justice. I'm coming out with this khuruj without these 4 items. So we can call it that this is the caravan of justice. The caravan of justice, after the massacre in Karbala, and after the men, the women, and the children were asked, I think this is better because it just gives me more sound. Salu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The men, the women, the children were massacred in Karbala. Not only massacred, but under conditions that food was barred from them and water was barred from them. Until to the point where they killed the only remaining son of the Prophet, son of the daughter of the Prophet. Not only killed him, but mutilated him and left him laying on the sands of Karbala for a few days, until by miraculous method he was buried. Then they proceeded to loot the house and unveil the women of the family of the Prophet. And finally they took them through the battlefield and to Kufa, where they met with Ubaidullah, who tried to humiliate them in every way possible, but failed. Failed because the caravan is the caravan of justice, and nothing but justice prevails in the end if it is exposed. Now, Yazid orders Ubaidullah to send this caravan and everything that was looted to Damascus, to Sham. It is at this time that the 4th Imam is tied in chains around his feet and around his hands and behind his neck. So his hands were tied and pulled behind his neck. Then Ubaidullah does something that was only done for the non-believers. He decides that the Imam should be collared. But this is a strange kind of collar. The collar, it is said that he decides to put on Imam, had spikes from the inside. And he ties it across the Imam. It is said that the Imam, after this point in time, to the point he reached Sham, he did not talk to any person in that journey, any person of the other side. The caravan reaches the outskirts of Sham, and just before entering the courtyard of Sham, it is placed outside as the courtyard is being decorated to accept these people. It was a different kind of state in Kufa and a different kind of state in Sham. And that is why we recall that our Imam, when asked what was the most difficult part of this whole tragedy that you went through, and Imam said 3 times, Asham, Asham, Asham. 9 hours they were kept outside, at least 9 hours. Other recordings say it was more than 9 hours, almost 3 days that they were kept. And as they approached this area outside Sham, there was an announcement that was made. What was the announcement? O people of Sham, these are captives of the cursed household. So what did the people end up doing? They started throwing stones, they started spitting, anything that came that was not of worthiness in their arms, they started to hit and it is said they hit the heads of the shaheeds as well. To a point now where even the ladies were feeling exposed. So what they did was they asked because the heads were being placed close to the women, so when people were watching the heads, they were also watching the women. And so they asked for those heads to be moved away. They even gave money to those who were holding the heads to move away. But when Shimr came to know that this was the request that was made, he moved the heads back towards where the women were standing. This is what Imam was experiencing about the women of the Holy House, to a point where someone actually comes and insults the Imam and says, it is good that you have been treated in this way, that you have come to this conclusion. And the Imam then explains to this person through the ayat of Quran, through the ayat of Tathir, and through the ayat of Muwadda as to who we are. After this heart-wrenching situation, now the caravan is asked to go inside. And previously the head of the Imam was hung from the door of the courtyard. Now they find that the head of the Imam is under the seat of Yazid, where Yazid has started to play with the head of the Imam, to the point where Abu Barzah, a companion of the Prophet, stands up and objects and says, "O Yazid, you do not understand this. I have seen this lips of the Imam being kissed by the Prophet. How dare you can play with the teeth and the lips of the Imam?" Yazid leaves that and now starts to ask, name me every woman that is in this caravan. The names of the Ahlul Bayt, the women of the Ahlul Bayt, were not spoken outside, but each and every one was now named, to the point where this item came, and you know that the Imam then asks to speak. I will jump to the later part of this incident. Before they are imprisoned, Imam asks to speak and speaks, and after Imam speaks, Yazid asks the courtyarders, what do I do with this? What do I do with this boy who has remained and not been killed? And they said, you have to kill him. You have to end their line, and so you have to kill this particular boy. And when he said this, Imam objected and said, "O Yazid, when Musa and Harun went to claim the Tawheed in the courtyard of Fir'aun, and the courtyarders were asked, what do we do with these 2 people? They did not say to kill. But your your courtyarders are said to kill. And do you know why this is? And so Yazid says, no, I do not know why. Tell me why. He says, because your courtyarders are of illegitimate birth. There is no possibility that the Prophet and the Prophet's children are killed, but by people who have illegitimate birth. The courtyarders of Fir'aun were not illegitimate, but your courtyarders are illegitimate. Saying this, Yazid was forced to not perform this, and then ask them to go and imprison them for the time that he aimed. But there is a situation that happened in the courtyard that tells you how the people of Sham were brainwashed. It is saying that these courtyarders were called from different nations to come and see this so-called victory of Yazid. And so when they saw this humiliation happening to the women of the household of the Prophet, one of the courtyarders, who was a person from outside, said, I want to enslave this young girl who is in the arms of one of the ladies. And that when that happened, Bibi Zainab jumped and said, this can never happen. If Yazid, you allow for something like this, then you will be out of your faith. And it is said that Sakina cried. Also, when it was a time when Hinda, the wife of Yazid, came from her room to come outside, and Yazid sort of went and helped her with her hijab because she came out without hijab. Then Bibi Zainab rose to call out to her brother and say, oh Hussein, look at how the hijab of these people that we taught how to wear the hijab is protected, and look at the hijab that has been taken from us. Ala la'natullahi ala al-qawmi al-zalimin wa sayalamu alladhina zalamu ayya munqalibin yanqalibun inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Matam ya Hussein. Ya Hussein.
Hussein, Ya 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 Hussein. ऐ शाम के लोगों, मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ। 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 मैं वारिस तत्हीर हूँ, मैं वारिस तत्हीर हूँ, नामों से नबी हूँ। ऐ शाम के लोगों, मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ। ऐ शाम के लोगों, मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ। ऐ शाम के लोगों, बाजार से दरबार में ले आए हो मुझको, चाहूँ तो जला सकती हूँ खुतबों से मैं तुमको। साबिर की बहन हूँ जो मैं खामोश खड़ी हूँ। ऐ शाम के लोगों, मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ। ऐ शाम के लोगों, मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ। ऐ शाम के लोगों, अफसोस कनीज़ी में उसे मांग रहे हो, तुम जिसके गुलामों की गुलामी में रहे हो। ये जुल्म ना होगा कभी, मैं जिंदा भी हूँ ऐ शाम के लोगों, मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ। ऐ शाम के लोगों, मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ। ऐ शाम के लोग, जिंदा था तो डर डर के हमें शाही लड़े हो, अब सर है तो होठों पे छड़ी मार रहे हो। तुम कितने बहादुर हो मैं ये देख रही हूँ ऐ शाम के लोगों, ओ मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ। ऐ शाम के लोगों, मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ। ऐ शाम तुम अपने पैगंबर को अगर देखना चाहो, नेज़े पे जो ये सर है इसे गौर से देखो। हम शक्ल पैगंबर है ये, मैं इसकी फूफी हूँ ऐ शाम के लोगों, मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ। ऐ शाम के लोगों, मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ। ऐ शाम के लोगों, मैं और इससे कठिन वक्त क्या होगा मेरे माबूद, फ़िज़ा के तरफदार हैं दरबार में मौजूद। मैं पुश्त पे फ़िज़ा के खड़ी देख रही हूँ ऐ शाम के लोगों, मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ। ऐ शाम के लोगों, मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ। ऐ शाम के लोगों, ज़हरा को भी दरबार में तुमने था बुलाया, दरबार में मैं भी हूँ मगर फ़र्क है इतना, पर्दे में थी वो और मैं बेपर्दा खड़ी हूँ ऐ शाम के लोगों, मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ। ऐ शाम के लोगों, मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ। ऐ शाम के लोगों, जंजीरों में जकड़ा जो ये बीमार खड़ा है, सजदा इसे काबे की फसीलों ने किया है। मन सब में बड़ा वो है, मैं रिश्ते में बड़ी हूँ ऐ शाम के लोगों, मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ। ऐ शाम के लोगों, मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ। ऐ शाम के मैं वारिसे तत्हीर हूँ, मैं वारिसे तत्हीर हूँ, नामों से नबी हूँ ऐ शाम के लोगों, मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ। सर से छिनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी जब रिदा सर से छिनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी जब रिदा सर से छिनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी जब रिदा सर से छिनी मैं सदा दे सब मिलके तू ना आया गाजी आले इमरान कहाँ और जिंदान कहाँ ये बहन कैद हुई तू ना आया गाजी जब रिदा सर से छिनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी जब रिदा सर से छिनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी हमको पानी ना मिले तेरी खुशबू तो रहे तेरे बाजू ना कटे चाहे मशकी जाच दे ये मगर हो ना सका तेरे बाजू है जुदा मुझ पे है तशना लबी तू ना आया गाजी जब रिदा सर से छिनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी जब रिदा सर से छिनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी धूप में तू था शजर तुझसे आबाद था घर है बरहना मेरा सर क्या नहीं तुझको खबर है अलमदार वफा इस बहन को बाखुदा तुझसे ढारसी बड़ी तू ना आया गाजी जब रिदा सर से छिनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी जब रिदा सर से छिनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी आ गई शाम अलम लुट गए अहले हरम रेत पर जलती हुई हो गया ठंडा आलम पुरसा देने के लिए मुझसे मिलने के लिए आ गए बाबाली तू ना आया गाजी जब रिदा सर से छिनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी जब रिदा सर से छिनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी क्या कहूँ शेर मेरे बेरदा हमको लिए ये मुसलमान सारे शहर दर शहर गए खलकते कूफा कभी खलकते शाम कभी बारहा हम पे हंसी तू ना आया गाजी जब रिदा सर से छिनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी जब रिदा सर से छिनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी कितनी बेबासी बहन है शहंशाह वफा नाम ये जालिम ने कहा, नाज था जिस पे तुझे, अब बुलाओ ना उसे। और मैं रोती रही तू ना आया गाजी, जब रिदा सर से छिनी मैं सदा ये वाला फॉल तू ना आया गाजी। कितनी बेबसी बहन ऐ शहंशाह वफा, नाम ले ले के मेरा, जब ये जालिम ने कहा, नाज था जिस पे तुझे, अब बुलाओ ना उसे। और मैं रोती रही तू ना आया गाजी, जब रिदा सर से छिनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी, जब रिदा सर से छिनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी। कैद खाने में कज़ा जब सकीना को मिली, देखे कुर्ते का कफन बच्ची दफनाई गई, उस घड़ी नाम तेरा सूरत नादे अली, बस मैं दोहराती रही तू ना आया गाजी, जब रिदा सर से चनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी, जब रिदा सर से छिनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी। क्या सकीना से कहूँ ऐ मेरे दिल के सुकून, हाय पानी के लिए बह गया सब तेरा खून, अब कोई आस नहीं तू मेरे पास नहीं, रस्सी शानों में बंधी तू ना आया गाजी, जब रिदा सर से छिनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी, जब रिदा सर से छिनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी। आले इमरान कहाँ और जिंदान कहाँ, ये बहन कैद हुई तू ना आया गाजी, जब रिदा सर से छिनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी। या हुसैन 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 हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन बर मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु